Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Good morning, Peter.
Morning, Bill. Morning, folks.
Episode number 291. We're at 291. And today's episode is called Legitimate Rookie Rewards of Subject to Deals that Create Gargantuan Retirement Quickly.
Okay.
Ever wonder how many houses you need to acquire so you can retire with a gargantuan income?
Mm-hmm.
Even better, how long, how hard, and how much do you think you need to know so you can actually do this quickly without spending a lifetime getting it done?
Right.
Peter?
Bill?
Being broke sucks.
Oh, gee, nobody knows that one. No one has ever been broke. We don't know what you're talking about. No clue.
So you have a choice. Do what we are about to show you or die poor. Money now is like an orgasm. It feels good, but it doesn't last. Money monthly buys you some freedom, and money later is retirement and legacy stuff. But what we don't talk about enough is how you can do less deals to hit the state. As the old saying goes, it's not how much you make, but instead how much you keep.
Good one.
So today, we are going to show you how many deals you need to retire handsomely and how to do it quickly because of the way we structure the deals so you don't give away too much profit that will force you to keep working. And it's all right under your nose. Extremely obvious. It's just you haven't looked at it this way ever before. But I promise, once you do, it will motivate you to start doing it today. Let's get started.
I'm in. As soon as the podcast is over, I'm starting today. I'm in. Whatever it is, I'll do it.
So we are going to talk about subject to deals. That's my favorite deal. And hopefully today you will see what's going to happen. I don't know that I can keep to an hour. We have a lot to cover. I'm going to try to make sure I buzz right along and we could try to keep the chit chat down to a little bit of a minimum. I'm going to try to do it all. We may have to do another podcast. We'll see how today goes. We might have to do part 2. When I looked at it, I was going to do it in 2 parts, but I wasn't sure that I had enough for 2 parts. And then when I started writing, I'm like, yeah, I could do 3 parts on this, but yeah. Here's what I want you to understand. And I'm throwing down the gauntlet, Peter. I really mean this, and I never throw names like this. But Pace Morby's all over the place about how he's the subject to expert. I'm not all over the place, but I could tell you right now, compared to me, he's in kindergarten. I've seen his stuff. I listened to his stuff. I think he's a great guy. I think he does a great job, but it's all introductory stuff.
Oh,
I have done a lot of subject to, and I'm not bragging. I'm not trying to boast. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just telling you when it comes to this subject, and anybody that gets close to me knows I know this subject cold. And today is the reason why I'm going to show you the reason why I say subject to is the best deals ever. I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a full concept of why this is. But more importantly, if you go into the description of wherever you're watching us or listening to us, there's a link there that will give you all the paperwork It'll give you there's a whole course in there. If you want to do subject to the way I do it, it is 100% there. It's expensive, but people will want it because when you hear what I have to say today, it's pittance. What you have to pay is mere pittance against what you could make. And I'm going to show you that today.
Yeah.
So there's a link in the chat. Go check it out if you so desire. Make sure you subscribe to our channel wherever you're listening to us or watching us, and make sure you give us a review so others can know whether or not we're doing a good job or not. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So here we go. This podcast is going to be something I think our listeners will never forget. I'm telling you. I mean, it's taken me a long time to write this podcast.
Yeah, really.
I've attempted to do it a couple times by talking about subject to, but it's not like this. So the impact we're about to create for our listeners will be burned into their minds so deep that they will have no choice but to take action if they're looking for freedom, cash flow, and huge retirement accounts quickly. This is the way to do it. There are other ways, but this is like having the sword of truth go through 20 inches of stone. Wow. I mean, it's just this is the way to do it. This is not a get quick rich type thing. This is not some, I'm going to wave a magic wand and next month I'm going to have, $1 bazillion. This is not it. It takes work, but your work is paid for over and over and over and over again. It's incredible.
Yeah, this sounds like, to me, security. Yeah. Not fat checks, but more like security, like future. Like you wake up like, good. I got this going. I got this. I got that. And it's going and going. Security. Yeah. Sleep well at night.
It's not only that, but it's protection. So security, I get. There are two different words in my head. So the security is yes, I feel good. I'm comfortable. But then you need to have protection to make sure that, it's kind of like the old stories, the fairy tales with the dragon slayer in the city, the dragon in the city, so it's like you have a city and they're all self-contained, and there's a dragon outside the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, when you're inside the city, it's like there's security, right? But if you go outside of the wall, there's a dragon. And that's what happens with us. We might be secure, but outside the wall are things like the tax man and, bad tenants and, all this other kind of crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Now, the way we're going to roll today is the first part of the podcast. I'm going to go over the way we build the wealth. Then after that, we're going to go over how you keep it. Okay. And quite frankly, that is the more exciting part, the keeping it. We talk about all the time. We talk about building the wealth. Because that's where people are. Yeah. They're looking for the wealth now, right? But they don't talk about keeping it. They don't talk about protecting it because they don't have it.
Sure.
And then a couple weeks ago, I think it was a couple weeks ago, I wrote an email I was just whatever in my mind. I was probably frustrated or something, and I just wrote an email, and I got tremendous response from that email.
Okay.
I read it on the coaching call. Remember when you said you printed it out, right?
Oh yeah, that one. Oh yeah, hell yeah. Oh hell yeah. That was so good. Mary's reading it. Come on. That's good when the wife starts picking stuff up. Really? Look at this, sweetheart. Yeah.
So quite frankly, that is the more exciting part, is the second part, the protection part, only because I have never explained these in public before. So let's start.
Okey-doke.
There are only two types of real estate transactions that truly make you a millionaire. One is buying property substantially under market value. Or two, buying property at market value or just below on terms. Those are the only two ways that you can buy property or control property and make you a millionaire.
Yeah.
By the way, the definition of terms is seller allows you to make monthly payments or take over existing payments until it's paid off.
Mm-hmm.
So a terms deal means seller allows you to make monthly payments or take over existing payments until it's paid off.
Right.
Now, here is a total absolute myth buster.
Really?
Yeah. Price is irrelevant. Price is irrelevant. Means it does not mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can pay any price for a property that you so desire if you get good terms. And cash flow each and every month on overpriced property. Now, the reason why so many people are having trouble finding sellers right now, because it's a seller's market, is because why would a seller that has an asset and sometimes has had it for a very long time want to let it go for a discount?
Not now. They don't feel like doing that.
Why?
No.
Why don't they want to sell it for a discount?
Because they don't have to.
Right.
Why would they? If somebody's gonna, hey, I'll give you 10, I'll give you 20. Okay, I'll take 10. Who the hell would take 10 when somebody give you 20? Why would you do that?
So let's just define this a little bit, Peter. That's an absolutely correct answer. Not that I'm scoring you or anything.
Oh, I am. I just want like this. One for me.
So what's the difference between a hot market and a cold market? So a hot market is you could put the property on the market or bring it to the market, and within 30 days you can have a contract and sometimes even go to a closing.
Yeah.
A cold market is anything over 60 days, often 90 days. Now, here's the funny thing. A hot market, it's hard to buy, easy to sell.
Sure.
A cold market, it's easy to sell. Easy to buy, hard to sell.
Yeah.
So a hot market is easy to sell, hard to buy. A cold market is, I got to make sure I think about this. Cold market, it's so confusing in my head sometimes.
Well, it's easy to buy, but harder to sell.
Yeah. So cold market would be easier. So here's what happens. Some people call those seller and buyer markets. So a hot market is the seller's market. In other words, the seller has the most opportunity.
Yeah.
And the buyer's market is the cold market. The buyer has more opportunity. So let's just put it this way. In a seller's market, you have one house, 20 buyers.
Sure.
In a buyer's market, you have 20 houses, one buyer.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just the definition of inflation right there. Right? One house, 20 buyers, price is going up.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it.
20 houses, one buyer, price is going down.
Yep. Competition. Well, I think it's like no matter where the competition is the competition in the houses being sold or the competition being in the people buying? Like where's the bigger pile?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So does that make sense?
Sure.
Good. Now the myth buster is price is irrelevant if you can get good terms. And cash flow each and every month is on the overpriced property, which means this is the only place on planet Earth that I know you can do this. And I have put this out there to my world, which I speak to about usually between 6,000 and 7,000 people. Lately, it's been between 7,000 and 8,000 people per week. I put this out there, and nobody has even tried to contest it. So I know it must be true. Which means in this business and what we're talking about, you work once and get paid many, many, many times over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean that you don't work, but you might put in 20 hours to buy a property, but then put in a half an hour a month to keep the income coming in.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Well, one person contested me a long time ago and said, well, a business could do that. No, 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 no. Kiyosaki said the definition of wealth in his book, Cash Flow Quadrants, was this. Your assets cover your liability plus reserves. So if you need $4,000 a month to live, your assets will pay you $6,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Without working or very little work. That's the trick. It's not that you have a business, because in a business, it might give you $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year, but how many hours do you need to put in? So there are businesses, obviously there are a lot of businesses that people own and they don't have to run them, right?
Yeah.
The next question is how long did it take them to set it up?
Mm-hmm.
So at a piece of real estate, you could literally set up a piece of real estate in 20 hours. I'm going to go through this in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Right? You could set it up in 20 hours and it could pay you. I've got properties that I've done with my partner. I'm guessing people have been in them for 20 years, 18
Mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to go in there, and I hope they don't leave at this point, because I'd have to go in and spend God knows what to renovate them.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
So this is the reason why real estate is so appealing to so many people, because you work once and you just get paid over. And if you do what we're talking about today, I'm going to show you that.
Yeah.
Now, almost all our listeners right now, unless you're new, already know that the formula for this is money now, money monthly, and money later. We call it the golden goose. That's a Ron LeGrand type of statement. He didn't make up the golden goose, but he uses that expression a lot in his materials.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's the golden goose that keeps laying the golden geese. The golden goose that keeps laying the golden egg.
Yeah.
And his analogy is, why shoot the goose?
That's right.
Right. And he shows a picture of a dead goose in his seminars. Right.
He did.
But how much do you need for money now in each deal before becoming a millionaire? Is it 50 grand, 20 grand, 15 grand? So let's get right down to it, right? You need money now, money monthly, money later. But what I'm asking you today is, I've always said that, but let's break it down today. How much do you need for money now in a deal to become a millionaire? Is it 50 grand? Is it 20 grand? Is it 15 grand? How much money now in each deal do you need to do that? It's a good question, right?
Yeah, well, the less per deal, the more deals you need.
Right.
And I know there's some average out there what people can expect, like on a rehab type of money now. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm saying
these deals.
We're talking about money now, money monthly, money later. Those are the golden goose, right?
Right.
All right. So to become a millionaire, and it's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
How much money do you need for money now to become a millionaire or retire handsomely?
$1 million would be good.
Even better question, how many deals per month do you need to do?
Yeah.
12, 8, 4, 2? Maybe you have no clue. Yeah. Why don't we think about these things, right? Why don't we reverse engineer these things, right? Why are we not doing that for ourselves?
Well, I think there's a problem with that money now, because you don't keep that. You spend it. You don't just put it in a big fucking pile. I swore, sorry. You don't just get to put it in a pile. You know, if it comes in like that in chunks, you're going to spend it on stuff. You just do.
Right, which I thought I was going to get a rise from you when I read this. In the description, I put, money now is like an orgasm. It feels good, but doesn't last.
Well, I completely understood that. There was nothing else to say. Hey, let it go. I remember. That's true. It's like short term. It's like you would be, but then what? It gets spent.
Right.
If you have money like that, it just gets spent.
Right.
Chunks like that, boom, something happens.
All right. How much money do we need to make on each deal so you can buy your freedom back? $2,000 per month? $1,000 per month? $500 per month, $200 per month. How much is it? How much equity, money later, do you need in each deal to have a gargantuan retirement account that will not only give you a luxury retirement, but be real legacy money?
Yeah.
How much is each deal going to have to do that? So how much for each deal do you need for money now? How much for each deal do you need for money monthly? And how much for each deal do you need for money later to, number one, have plenty of money now to live off of, have plenty of money monthly to live with, and have a retirement or legacy money later on?
Yeah.
How much is all of that? Then that begs into the question in my mind, okay, once we figure that out, which we're going to do in a minute, right? How long should each deal take you to do? 120 hours, 80 hours, 40 hours? You have no clue. Right? Now, here's my point, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to do something I don't like to do because it's not fair to Peter, but Peter's been with me for quite a while, and he can't answer these questions. Right? And I don't, and up until just recently, I couldn't answer these questions because I never asked them.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't remember what podcast, and if we need to go back, I can do that. Actually, let me do that. We spoke about, let me get the podcast here. Let me see. I think it was podcast number, I think it was podcast number 288 and 289. Why most real estate entrepreneurs aren't happy is 288. We spoke about, you remember, Peter, we spoke about asking yourself who, not asking yourself how.
Right.
So if you ask yourself who can do so I want to generate, like this afternoon, I want to generate, I have a new idea I woke up with this morning. It's called an infographic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a simple picture of how you know which deal to do. I woke up with it in my mind this morning. So how do you know which one of the 7 deal strategies that I have to use, which one to use?
And you're going to make a graphic that'll help answer that? Okay, I like to see that.
And wait a minute. And God knows, because I haven't read this book in probably 10 years, it looks like the cash flow quadrant.
What, your graphics? Graphics are going to look like that?
It's going to be called the Creative Real Estate Deal Quadrant. And you're going to be able to look at 4 squares and know which deal to do.
Wow.
Okay, so here's my point. So how do I do that infographic? If I ask that question, how do I do that infographic? Right?
Yeah.
It could take me weeks to try to figure that out. I have to go figure out this and that and software and that and that. How do I do it, right? Instead, I'm going to ask myself, who can make it for me?
Right.
And literally in about 15 minutes this afternoon, I'll have it. I'll pay money for it, but I'll have it. And next week, you'll probably see it in my emails. Okay, see the difference?
Yeah. Who can solve the problem? Who can come up with a solution? Who can do it for us?
So if you want something, you don't ask, how do I? You ask, who can I do it? Who can do it for me?
Yeah.
Right? Now, here's the magic. In real estate, your who's are your clients, are your sellers. So you have to ask yourself, who can do this deal with me? Who can give me this type of a deal that would give me money now, money monthly, money later?
Right.
Who could do this deal so I don't have to spend 120 hours, 80 hours, 40 hours, or 20 hours? Who can I do this deal in 10 hours with? See, it's all connected. It sounds a little profound, but if you just switch your way of thinking a bit, all of a sudden it streamlines. What happens? See, here's what happens in our society today. Seriously. In 1922, how many paved roads were there for cars?
Oh, shoot, not many.
In 2022, how many paved roads are there for cars?
Can't find unpaved roads. I don't see them.
So that's what my point is. My point is nowadays there's too many paved roads. You have too much opportunity. The roads have already been paved for you for real estate. It's already there. You just need to figure out how to use them.
Mm.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already been done for you. Guys like me have been around. What was his name? Alan. Oh my God.
Something Allen?
Robert Allen.
Right.
How about this? I heard just recently Ron LeGrand say that he was a student. He never talked about it in 20 years. I've never heard him say this.
What?
He was a Carleton Sheet student. He always talked about when he was an auto mechanic and he went to this seminar, but he never said what the seminar was.
Yeah.
It was a Carleton Sheet seminar.
Yeah.
He never said that before.
Yeah.
Okay. So the roads have been paved. Okay. I'm off on a tangent. So how long should each deal take you to do? 120 hours, 80 hours, 40 hours, 20 hours? You have no clue. What if I told you the magic formula, which is super, 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 super conservative? What does that mean, conservative?
Worst case scenario, like
really, really low.
Yeah, it's low. It's not like
very safe.
Yeah.
Easy to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And very easy for rookies to do in each deal. So here we go. Ready? Here's the numbers.
Okay.
What if you did a deal that had $500,000 now? That's the buyer's deposit.
500,000?
$5,000 now.
Okay, 5. Yeah.
$5,000 now. That's the buyer's deposit.
Mm-hmm.
$200 a month cash flow.
Yeah.
And $15,000 a month in the back end.
Okay.
Is that wicked conservative?
That's low. It's almost like if you saw a deal like that, you might not even want to do it. It's low.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's low. If you got nothing else to do and you're new at it, you got nothing, I'll grab it and go learn and get something. But for you.
Yeah. So let's do an example of this deal so you can see how it works.
Yeah.
Ready? Here we go. And if you're listening to us and have paper and pencil, you might want to write this down because we don't have the ability on the podcast to show it to you. Although I do this on my monthly meetup, the third Wednesday of the month, I do the math in front of you on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been to my meetup, the third Wednesday of every month, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you're on my email list, you can't but help know it, right?
Virtually.
Yeah. So Johnny Cashflow Ramirez, that's a good name. Look, Johnny Cashflow Ramirez says, good morning, real estate freaks. And he said, I got my paper ready.
Okay. Here it comes.
Here we go. Market value, $100,000.
Okay.
Purchase price, $90,000.
Mm-hmm.
Financed by subject to deal.
Yeah.
In other words, where we take over the seller's existing loan. Now, hear this. If you've listened to any of my strategies, I tell you need 20% for subject to.
Right.
Here I'm telling you 10% will work.
Okay.
I'm just putting it there because the 20% is a conservative number to keep you safe.
Right.
Okay. So I do subject to deals. I actually pay over. I mean, I've got one that was worth $179, needed $15,000 worth of work, so it was really $165. I took over the debt of $191. I overpaid, but I have almost $800 a month in positive cash flow. And I've had that property for 2 years. So how much money is that? Right. So it just depends on how you look at it. So let's go back. Market value is 100. Purchase price is 90. Financed by subject to, which means you're going to take over the seller's existing loan. Which, by the way, nowadays, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. I won't say that now. The seller's monthly loan amount is $900 a month with the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance.
Yep.
They call that PITI.
Yep.
So market value is 100, purchase price is 90. We're taking over the loan subject to, and we're paying $900 a month, principal, taxes, and insurance, no other payments.
Right. And the mortgage is 90, you're saying?
Purchase price is 90. It doesn't matter what the mortgage amount is.
No, I'm just wondering. Oh, are you gonna throw that in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to pay 90. It doesn't matter whether they have a mortgage or not. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if they owe 60, you can still write a mortgage for 90 and give them $30,000. It doesn't matter. We're paying $90,000.
Got it. Okay.
So we sell like this. The sell method is lease with an option to buy.
Mm-hmm.
The sell price is 110. Now we can get above market value because it's just American math. If I sell my computer today for $1,000 and you give me $1,000 in cash, you paid $1,000. But if I sell you my computer today for $1,000 and you swipe your credit card and make 24 payments on it, you're no longer paying $1,000. So if you don't have the money now, you have to pay a higher price just because time, you have to pay for the time.
Yep.
So in this particular case, because they're not buying the house now, they would pay 110. And believe me, nobody's going to balk at that number.
No, it might seem strange, but these are folks that are stuck in an apartment or living in mom's basement or something like that, and they don't have a way out, and they'll keep doing that. How much money do you waste on rent year after year after year? So if you get a way out, overpaying in the front end and catching up later, you're still ahead in the long run, and it's an amazing opportunity for folks like this, and you're doing them a big favor because they won't get out of that rat hole otherwise. So
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? We're not making this up. We've seen it. How many times have you seen it? We've seen it. People are ecstatic. Oh my God, sweetheart, we can buy this rent to own. Like, oh my God, they're thrilled. How much? Okay, we'll do it. They're thrilled.
Let's just get it straight. Peter means rat hole, your mother-in-law's place with 3 kids in the basement.
Yep.
All right. So we sell this like sell method. We're going to do a lease with an option to buy. We're going to sell at a price of 110. The monthly payments are $1,100 to our buyer.
Yeah.
And they're going to need cash at closing, $5,000 down.
Mm-hmm.
Which is money now. The $5,000 is the money now.
Yeah.
The monthly cash flow is $200 because we're paying $900 and we're collecting $1,100.
Yep.
So the cash flow is $200, and the money later is $15,000. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. I need to explain this because the difference between 90 and 110 is $20,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
We paid 90, we're selling for 110, so that's $20,000. But we took a $5,000 down payment.
Right. So it's 20 total, but 5 now, 15 later.
Right.
Which is nice. Get some now, look forward to some later.
Now watch this math. This is freaking incredible. When I did this, I almost fainted.
You were telling me last week that if you do this, and this, you make that much. And I said, huh? So go ahead. I didn't hear this part.
Now watch this math.
Yeah.
If you did one of these per month, which by the way, how hard is it to buy $100,000 house for 90 grand? It's going to cost your seller 10% for closing costs minimally. Actually, it's going to cost them 12 to 15%. So You're actually paying full asking price because the person that's selling a house for 100 grand, if they put it in the realtor system or put it on the market, it's going to cost them 10% for closing costs. Right. So you're paying full asking price. You're not negotiating at all.
Yep.
Once they realize the closing cost, if they have any kind of experience, they'll know this. Yep. So you're paying full asking price. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now watch this math. So finding these deals should not be as hard as you think. So now watch this math. If you did one of these a month, $5,000 now, $200 monthly, and $15,000 later,
mm-hmm.
plus we count our tax benefit for owning the property because we have the deed in our name, right?
Yep.
That's 3.64%.
The depreciation?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's on this deal is $106 a month for 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have $5,000 now. $200 a month, $15,000 later, and $106 for monthly depreciation.
It's cool.
If you did that once a month for 12 months, your money now would be $83,868.
Mm-hmm.
Your money monthly would be $15,600.
That's my
Yeah, because you're going to buy and sell the same property. Because each property,
mm-hmm.
right? And the money later is going to be $180,000.
Mm-hmm.
For a grand total of $263,000. $263,000.
Billy, that's more than $250,000. See, it sounds better when you say million. It's more than $250,000.
That's year one.
Yeah.
Year two, if you did 12 deals. So I'm talking about a total of 24 deals.
Yeah.
Year two is 284,000. It's 284,064.
Mm-hmm.
284,064.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Money now. $284,000 money now.
Yep.
$28,800 money monthly. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And $180,000 money later. For a grand total of $464,064.
Mm. That's almost $500,000. That sounds good, doesn't it? Almost $500,000.
So by doing 12 subject to deals,
mm-hmm.
whether it takes you 2 years or 4 years, and you use these conservative deals, which I have to overemphasize, $5,000 down, $200 a month, and $15,000. And you're in the middle of the country where you're buying $100,000 properties. That's low. That's normal. But on either coast, yeah. I mean, what happens when you're buying in California? You're buying $500,000 houses, or what happens on the East Coast where we are? They're $300,000 houses.
Yeah, they are.
$5,000 is like stupid money. You're going to get $20,000 down.
Yeah.
And $400 to $600 a month monthly cash flow. So these are conservative numbers. $5,000 down, $200 a month, $15,000 in the back end.
Yep.
It's on the low scale. At the end of 2 years, 24 deals later, you are doing $284,000 a month money now. I'm sorry, total for a year. Total for a year is $284,000 for money now, $28,800 for monthly cash flow. $180,000 in money later for a grand total of $464,000 that year.
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep this short, which, by the way, this is a whole podcast within itself, which is why I decided to try to stuff everything in one podcast instead of doing 2 podcasts. And if I have to, I'll have to do another one. But just to keep things short, Peter, what happens when you do something more than once?
Well, educationally, you start getting very knowledgeable and very good at it. You can, you know how to do it. You know how to answer people's questions. You just get better at it. And you want to do that. That's what you start seeing. You start seeing that everywhere if you can.
So, Johnny Cashflow, you are 100% incorrect. Unfortunately, we can't lease option or slot deals here in Texas. That is not true. You can't do them for more than 6 months. You can do a lease option and a slot deal for 6 months in Texas. I have coaching clients there. But believe it or not, Johnny Cashflow, here's the deal. You guys got it better than us. Because in Connecticut, if I do a lease with an option, I have a 6-month eviction if I don't do the paperwork correctly. They could stay for 6 months. In Texas, you can do owner financing and you have about 20-something days to get them out of the house. Mm-hmm. So you're better off to not sell on a lease with an option in Texas. You're better off to sell on owner financing. The math still works the same. Okay, so I'd rather be in Texas and do owner financing than lease options. You have better control of that in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I want to keep this short. So if you do one deal, you get practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do two deals, you get better, right? If you do three deals, you get better, right? So I have a whole scale that I'm not going to cover today, but the lowest point is what happens if you got 25% better on each deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Just 25% better, which is going to be a lot more than that if you start doing 10 or 20 deals. It's going to be more than 25%. It's going to be 50, 75%, maybe 100%.
No, I've watched you do these over the last few years, and they've gotten better and better. Your numbers keep getting better on the deals. You found ways to pull more money out, and it doesn't injure the person. It helps them. It helps them buy the house better, sooner, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's not like, let me see if I can find ways to screw the other guy. It isn't. You just do the deal better, and it comes out better.
Mm-hmm. So now, if you're just 25% better, your money now goes from $5,000 to $6,250.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, if you're 25% better, instead of doing 12 deals a year, you'll do 15.
That's right.
If you do 25% better, your $200 per month goes to $250.
Mm-hmm.
And 25% better, your $15,000 in back end money or money later goes to $18,750.
Yep.
Now watch this. If you just did 12 deals, 25% better. In other words, you did 12 deals the first year. And the second year, I'm telling you, the second year, if you just continue to be the same, the second year is $284,000 money now, $28,000 money monthly, and $464 total money. If you did 25% better, watch what happens to these numbers.
Yeah.
450, 330 money now, 450,000, 330 money now, right?
Yeah.
Money monthly is 56,250. Money later is 281,250. For a grand total of $731,850.
That's about $750,000. Yeah, I like the million sound.
So I have so many students that are trying to do so many things, that are trying to use so many different buckets, and I'm always consistently saying what's my favorite deal, Peter?
Subject to.
Why do I say that?
Because of what you just said of the last 10, 15 minutes. And other reasons that you tell us.
You're welcome, John. It's good to see you, by the way, Mr. Ramirez. Okay, so why is that? Because of those reasons.
Yeah.
Right? Because of those reasons. Now, I have to tell you that, how do you do 24 deals? Well, if I'll tell you how you do 24 subject to deals.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you how to do it right now. Knock everything else out of your universe and just focus on those. And when the other deals come across your desk, you decide whether you want to do them or not.
Mm-hmm.
But your first foot forward is subject to. So how do you find a subject to deal?
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you how to do that right now.
Yeah, because that's interesting to me when you work on any kind of deals and you're thinking, gee, how do I find those people? Instead of just sticking a sign in the ground and see what shows up, or just blasting things out. I know you do your marketing so it tries to pinpoint closer to what you're looking for. I mean, if you had a food truck, where are you going to go? Middle of the desert or next to the factory at lunchtime? It's not, but how do you do it in marketing, virtually and all that? So tell us, Obi-Wan.
So first of all, I could tell you that these type of deals, subject to deals, are not desperate people. They're motivated because they need to relieve themselves of the house. The money second.
Yeah.
Okay. But more importantly, here's what happens. Forget about the marketing. The marketing to me is like divorce people, pre-foreclosure, maybe permit problems, zoning problems.
Right.
I don't even focus on those, to be honest with you. Here's what I do, which, by the way, this month, my monthly deal hunting monthly mastery, I'm going to show you how you can use a free tool to scrape leads on the internet. And then how to get their phone numbers.
Cool.
So let's just say you have something like that, and that's the first Wednesday of the month. And you go on my website and you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. Top right-hand side, it says courses. It costs $97 a month, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You can come in for 1 month or 10 months or 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you do. You call a person up on the phone, and here's how you find a subject to deal. You say whatever you want. I don't give a crap what you say, to be honest with you. You're going to say all the wrong things anyways, but you have to say this.
Mm-hmm.
So you ask them, you could ask them things like, a lot of times we do something with the financing. You have a mortgage on the house? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how much? Okay, $263,000. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my next question. Would you be willing to sell the house for what you owe on it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the subject to question. If they say no, because it's worth, they got 263 mortgage on it, but it's worth 400 or 350. Mm-hmm. We'll say 350.
Yeah.
If they say no, I won't do that. You say, oh, okay. How much were you expecting it at closing? Or you would say, how much would you like to get out of it?
Right. Because if it's a 260 mortgage and you pay that, he gets zero. It's just a wash. So you're looking for, what do you want beyond that? That spread between what the mortgage is and what the house might be worth. There's some equity in there. So how much does he need of that?
So let's just say there's $90,000 worth of equity, and he's like, well, if I put it on the market, if I did this, I'd be happy with $50,000.
Okay.
What I'm telling you is you could pay up to, which is against my own words, you can pay up to 90% is what I'm telling you here, right?
Yeah.
So what you would do is you would take over the first mortgage and write a second mortgage for the difference and pay it no interest, no payments until you sell the property.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a subject to deal.
Mm-hmm.
We call it a double mortgage deal. We call it a wraparound mortgage deal. There's all these other names, but it's a subject to deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure. You're paying the mortgage off now and then giving him the equity, which would happen when the house is sold. When the money comes in, then we have it to give to the guy, right?
Right.
Okay.
So all the stuff we're talking about is the reason why I have a private coaching group, so that we can do things like what we're talking about and make you a millionaire. That's my intention. Okay. Let's move on to what I want to talk about, because all this stuff is for you guys. Okay. I'm just breaking it down, trying to catch you up. Watch this. You ready for this, Peter?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is part 2. Let's keep the dough.
That's funny you say that, because when you don't have dough, you're just trying to make it. I remember the first couple of big checks I got stuck in the bank. It was like, how do I hang on to this now? Wow, what do I do? Like, this is different.
I am about to tell you something. I am about to tell you something that you have never heard on any other podcast. You've not seen this in any other training. You have not read this in any other book. This is completely underground Bill's Planet think.
Okay.
And I decided to release it. I've known this for years and decided never to talk about it publicly. I have no idea why I'm talking about it now, except I might be looking to retire from the podcast and some of the information business. So I figured I'm not sure about that, but I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, because it's too distracting for my deal hunting. Sometimes I make way more money doing my real estate than this. And to be honest with you, if what's happening is I'm giving away so much material free that my value is not there.
Yeah.
I mean, you think subject to, you think Pace Morby. I'm telling you, he's a kindergartner on Bill Planet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I go head to head with him, and he would lose every time.
Yeah.
But he's all over Facebook. He's all over everywhere, and he's got a good acting career, right? I don't know how good he is at subject twos. I've heard some of his phone calls, and I cringe.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm not bashing the guy. I'm just saying that I don't want to be a movie star. I don't want to be an actor. I don't want to be all over YouTube. I want to make my deals, and I want to help people. So the people that want help will appreciate my value, and they'll put their own emotional investment into it, and I'll help them.
Yeah.
So this is why I don't talk about this stuff. But here we go. Ready? This is subject to deals, which means you get a deed in your name.
Yeah.
First of all, these type of deals are getting way, way more easier to do. There's always been this myth about subject to has a due on sale clause.
Right.
2 points I want to make on that, which I didn't even write down because I did want to talk about them, but I can't resist myself. Number one, I'll guarantee you that if you go into any state and type in subject to lawyer, you will find a lawyer. All of a sudden, I'm seeing lawyers popping up, including my lawyer, because I've taught him how to do it, that are specializing in subject to deals.
They put it on their shingle, Bill?
Yes. So here's the deal. If you don't believe me, right now go into Google and type in HUD 1 statement. That's a settlement statement for the government. The government, every deal you do nowadays, every real estate transaction goes through the government. So they have to, the closing agent has to present the settlement statement. They call it a HUD 1.
Yeah.
At line, I think 102 or 105 or something like that, it says subject to, taking over the loan subject to.
Yeah, it's one of the put the number. You go down all these numbers. Housing and urban development. You go down all the numbers are filling in how much, the taxes and the water bill. And there's I have them in my cabinet too. But I pulled it out when you said this. Like there it is, subject to line whatever 10 something. Yep. It's right there.
Let's put that aside. So first of all, there are closing agents that are specializing in subject to. So that means it's getting more popular.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my final point, and I'm going to cut my nose to spite off my face here. Honestly, you don't need to do subject to anymore. You just do wraparound mortgages, and it does everything for you. And a closing agent, it handles all the subject to, it handles due on sale clause, it handles everything.
Yeah.
Number two, because attorneys and closing agents are doing these deals, the lenders are much more relaxed on the due on sale clauses because they're closing with settlement statements and they're closing in an attorney office and they don't even think about the due on sale clause.
Yeah.
Number three, think about this for a minute. For about 14 years, mortgage loans have been 4% or below.
Yeah.
Okay. There might have been a few times where they went to 4.3, but it was only for a month or two. It wasn't very much. But for 14 years, it's been all loans have been below 4%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we know inflation is at our front doorstep. There's no way that you could put $10 trillion into an economy and tell everybody to stay home for a year and not produce. Remember I told you that inflation is 20 buyers in one house? How do you think that works for couches? 20 buyers, one couch.
Yeah.
In the grocery store, 20 buyers, one jar of peanut butter. How do you think that works? Why do you think they're cutting the supply chains? Because whoever the suppressive people are that are trying to rule this world because they think that there's too many of us and not enough resources, they're trying to prove their point. It's a complete dramatization.
Yeah.
Okay. Regardless of all that.
Yeah.
We know the interest rates are going up. They have to cut down inflation. There's no other way to do it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when the interest rate is 5%, 7%, 9%?
Bill, in the 80s, when I was young enough to buy a house,
Remember that? 18%?
it was 18%. Reagan came in and did some stuff and handled some things and it calmed down, but it was 18%. What the hell do you do with that?
Without making this, because I can make this a whole podcast in itself, look at this. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Let me give you an analogy before I say what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
How much is a 1957 Bel Air Chevy worth today?
Well, you know better than me. You're the car guy. I'm the guitar guy. I can tell you a 54 Stratocaster Fender.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I saw one on Barrett Jackson the other day sell for $100,000.
Yep.
When you bought that car, I think it was $4,000.
Oh, hell. I bought a 67 Le Mans. It was $2,600. It was less than that.
Okay. So let's just say it was $2,000.
Yeah.
So how would you like to today buy that 57 Chevy Bel Air for the original price?
Mm-hmm.
For the 2000 in today's market?
Oh, hell.
That's what subject to is like. You're taking over a mortgage that has a 3% interest rate when the current interest rate is 7%. So that difference is your profit. So let's say the new person has to pay $1,800 a month to buy a $200,000 house, but you're buying the house at 3% at $1,400 a month.
You're right. There's $400 right there difference.
Just because you know how to buy subject to. Because you're buying with old money, selling with new money.
Yeah.
Come on now. That is freaking incredible. That alone should make you salivate for subject to deals. You're buying with old money, selling with new money.
Yeah.
How about this? Number 4. Because you buy with subject to, you pay the mortgage. Do we agree?
Sure. That's the deal.
Peter, I am telling you that this is the climax of this podcast right now.
Jesus Christ, Bill. You start with an orgasm, you're ending with the climax. You're killing me here. You're killing me.
What do I have on my mind, right? So listen to me. I don't actually. It's just a way to talk. So listen to me, because this is freaking huge. Nobody has said this that I've ever heard of outside of Bill's Planet.
Mm-hmm.
You take over a mortgage. Who's paying the mortgage payment?
The buyer, really.
Okay. They're leasing. Who's paying the mortgage payment? We are.
Yeah, we are. Well, I mean, just saying we are, but with their money. So
now watch this. Watch this. And this is what occurred to me.
Mm-hmm.
Every single February, you get, if you have properties, you get a bunch of mail. Your mailbox is full. What's it full with?
Bank statements of interest paid.
Right. So they tell you this is how much interest you paid for this mortgage this year, the year prior.
Yeah.
So if it's 2021, it's for 2020. If it's 2022, it's for 2021.
Yeah. Well, it's for your taxes. They send you that so you can go to your tax account and do your taxes.
Why do they send that to you?
Because you're the one paying the mortgage, even though it's in the other guy's name.
Why do
You're
we
paying
care
it.
about the interest? Why do we care how much interest we're paying?
It comes the hell off your taxes.
So watch this. If you have a subject to property and you're making $400 a month.
Cash flow, yeah.
$400 a month cash flow. You're making $400 a month. That's
Right.
$48,000, right?
4,800.
I'm sorry, $4,800. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I said it wrong. $4,800.
Mm-hmm.
That's $5,000.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The mortgage sends me a bank statement saying that I paid $6,000 in interest.
Easily.
So now here's what happens. I have a $6,000 tax credit. So it wiped out the $4,800. I don't have to claim that. I mean, in essence, it's not really done this way in Texas, but I wiped out the $4,800. So I'm not paying taxes on the $4,800. I just wiped out that income, right?
Oh my God.
And I have $1,200 left that I can put towards the down payment.
Off, yeah. Wow. But you know what's crazy? If you get a house with maybe 20% equity, or I mean, forget that. Just the mortgage is kind of high because it's not that old. You're paying globs of interest in the beginning, right?
Right.
The newer the mortgage is, you know, you pay $1,000 and it's like $100 principal, $900 interest. Multiply that times 12. That's a lot of money.
Right.
Holy crap.
And if it doesn't help you in the deal you're in, it will help you with other deals.
Oh, just help you with your taxes. It'll just help you. Jeez, money is money.
So
Take it.
They talk about the hidden tax, which is inflation, right? This is the hidden profit in every deal that we don't talk about, because I don't want people to overpay and use these numbers. These are, by the way, extra numbers. We don't want to use these in our math when we're trying to figure out how much we're making for a deal. We want these to come in the back and just win even more. It's like appreciation. We never use appreciation in our evaluations.
Nope.
Because it's not something you can count on. This you can count on. But
yeah, this is different. That's crazy. You said this to me about a week ago, and holy moly.
So you make $400 a month, which is common on a subject to deal. The tax write-off is the interest from the bank. So I'm telling you on a 200, I just got one. That's why I'm using these examples. It was $6,300.
Yeah.
It wiped out my income. So if I made $100,000 a year with this income, with these properties, and I have a $6,000 interest, that means I'm only going to claim $9,400 worth of income.
94,000.
I'm sorry, I keep doing that. Sorry, 94,000 worth of income.
Mm-hmm.
6,000 right off. It's not. It's a deduction.
Yeah,
it's freaking huge.
I mean, we have an accountant that's wonderful. He just does the law stuff, and it's set up. You know, and it should. How come you're getting all that? Because we're working hard to do this. We're helping a lot of people. We're doing things for this. It's not like we're just sitting around and just getting fat and rich. We're working hard to help people who are stuck at a house, who can't buy a house. We're doing a lot of work to do this. It doesn't have to take a long time, but we're running around to do this. So I'll take the breaks when I get them. Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
They're there already. They're for us to use. The difference is how ignorant are we? And I'm going to tell you, I've been ignorant for a long time. I decided, and you know when this happened, because I was always struggling with tax stuff at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I decided a year ago to get ahead of the tax man, not behind the tax man. So I decided to start asking questions. I got a tax attorney. I got a CPA, which I had, but the tax attorney. And I'm starting to ask, I read a few books, and I'm starting to ask, how can I get these write-offs? How can I get ahead of the tax man?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing what I'm learning. They're just like subject to deals are right under your nose. So are the tax laws.
Yeah, because you're right. It's not as much how you make; it's how much you can save and keep of it.
Now watch this. You ready?
Yeah.
So number 5. And while we're on the Uncle Sam thing, like I said earlier, 3.64% on average is what you get to depreciate the property value.
From the value of the property, like the $200,000, whatever it's worth, the 3.64% of that.
So not only do you get the interest write-off for the loans, but you get to depreciate at 3.64%.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. I didn't do the math, but $200,000 times 3.64%.
7,000 something. $7,280. Yeah.
So we got $6,000 from the interest, and another $7,200, right? 13,000 and change in a write-off on one house.
Bill, you know why I'm laughing? As some of you may know, my wife is the bookkeeper and does books. So when it comes to the accountant, we go to our guy, same guy you have, and I sit there. And they pass papers back and forth, and I watch. I go like this. Once in a while, I ask something, and they ignore me. And they'd say things that I go, whatever. And I leave, and he goes, how much? I say, how much do I owe? And he goes, blah, blah. And he went, huh? That's less than I used to pay when I had just a job.
The more houses you have, the less you pay. I
pay less taxes than when I just had a jobbity job. And I don't know what he did because they talk to each other. And I go, okay, let's go have lunch. And I'm happy. But I'm getting some of the details listening to you right now.
Right.
And maybe that's why the wife is reading your thing so much, because all that stuff is there. So this is exciting.
So I just made a decision because we're at 1 hour and 4 minutes. So here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the podcast.
Okay.
I'm going to continue it in episode number 292. And I'm going to start off with, once we recap everything we talked about today, I'm going to start off with how you can buy properties in a Roth IRA.
Oh, I'm coming to that one.
And if you use a Roth IRA, you can completely get tax-free.
Mm-hmm.
So subject to deals, I have been told that subject to deals can't be put in a Roth IRA. The reason why is because a Roth IRA will not allow a recourse loan.
Which means a loan that you have to pay, that you're responsible for.
They can sue you and foreclose and make you pay the loan.
Yeah, you're completely liable for it.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
But I figured out how to do that without doing that.
Mm.
So I'm going to talk about how you can put money in an IRA and a Roth IRA, and why most people don't do it. I'll tell you the reason why most people don't do it. I'll tell you why Roth IRAs are not used this way.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for it. And when I reveal it to you next podcast, you're going to be like, oh my God. Plus, we're on number 6. Roth IRA is number 6. I have 12 ways. So we'll go over the other 6 ways. Okay.
Yeah. You're blowing up our brains enough in one episode with that much. We need a week to process that, and then we'll take the rest next week.
So we'll continue next week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do more. I'll call it part 2. Okay. But I want you to realize that this final statement, where your attention goes, energy flows, results show.
Mm.
If you put your attention on finding subject to deals, your energy will flow to that, and soon you will have results of subject to deals. Now, I'm not telling you to not do the other deals, but I'm telling you this is the reason why I choose subject to deals.
Mm.
Because there's so many profit centers. Yeah. More than any other kind of deal known on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there you go. So make sure you go into the description. I put a link in there with a course that shows you how to do subject to deals. Every last little detail. It's 6.5 hours or 7 hours of videos that show you how to find them, show you scripts, it gives you the paperwork, it gives you the trust documents, it gives you everything that I ever use and more, because some of my coaching clients don't even have some of this stuff. The most valuable thing is the checklist of what you need to do a subject to deal.
Mm-hmm.
There's an actual checklist. You get on the checklist and you just do it 1, 2, 3, and you do a subject to deal.
Mm.
And all that's in the link in the description of wherever you're watching us or listening to us. Don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you're watching us or listening to us, and make sure you leave us a review. And with that said, we're over and out. Have a good week. We'll talk to you at episode number 292. The end.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.